Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. What does milk, walrus, and a handlebar have in common? Give up? Those are the types of things you try to figure out in the game called Tribond. By the way, mustaches is what they have in common. Tribond is a medium-weight party game for ages 12 and up for 2 or more players. Runs about an hour, and it's to try to figure out what 3 things that sound like they're totally unrelated, what do they have in common? Because they all have something in common. Well, let's check out the components and see how it's played, and then I'll give you my thoughts at the end. Alright, in Tribond, the object is to get all 3 of your pawns to the finish of all 3 tracks. Now, in here I've got it set up for a 2-player or a 2-team game. I found this better to play as teams because this is a really hard game and it's better to have more minds. So I find it better as a 2-team game. Now, we have a red team and a green team. Each one of them has a pawns on each different tracks. Now, on your turn, you're going to take these die and you're going to roll them. And this has a book symbol and a 2. This means, over here you see some categories. The 2 face masks are entertainment, the sports and recreation is the cup, the academics is a book, riddles and wordplay is a question mark, and a star is a choose your category, and a hand means free roll, which means you get to actually just move one of your guys that many, which is really cool. And so, what you end up doing is you're rolling this so you have a book and a 2, which means that you have to answer a book question for 2. If you get it right, you get to move any one of these guys 2 spots. And a card looks something like this. Each card, as you can see, has the different symbols of the entertainment faces, the sports and recreation cup, the academics, and the riddles and wordplay. So someone from the other team, in this case, would grab the book, and they would read this, and they would say Tokyo, Japan, Mexico City, Mexico, and Sao Paulo, Brazil. And that team would have to guess what those 3 things have in common. Now in here, this one says it's the world's largest cities. If they had happened to have picked the sports and recreation or rolled the sports and recreation, it says Tim Duncan, Allen Iverson, Joe Smith. And the correct answer for that is basketball players. If they get it correct, they get to go this amount. They can move any guy this amount. Now, there's a couple of 2 things I want to talk about here. Is when you're moving, there's a few spaces in which you can challenge people. So let's say, for example, I just moved my 2 spots. That was green. And let's say red rolls, and they happen to have rolled a 2 and a riddles and wordplay. If they get that right, they can go here and challenge me. And each card, if I'm looking at the card that we just used earlier, each card has a section that says challenge, and these are supposed to be easier to look at. And so the section that has challenge, in this case, has snare, kettle, and tom-tom. Of course, those are drums. And the first team that get it right wins the challenge. If the defender wins, the challenging team goes back to where they came from. If the challenging team wins, the defending team goes back to the spot they went. So those are challenges that are cool to do. So after the challenges are over, it goes on to the next. If it's the player that won or got it right, they get to continue to go. And so now we have some other things that you might want to know about. There are some multiple choice questions, and those are highlighted in sort of a purple shade, where they would say Galt McDermott, Jerome Regini, and James Rado. And then you would have to you would read them, the 3 different choices, and it's a multiple choice question. So those ones are a little bit easier. Now, anytime a team gets one right, they get to continue rolling and keep going until they're stopped. And this continues until the end of the game, until all 3 players get to the end of the finish, and the winner is the one that's in the finish. Now, there's one other set of things here is the green. If you end up on a green space, you could challenge anybody on this track further down the road. So if there was a red guy here, and I rolled a 2 and got it right and went here, you automatically can challenge this person. And again, the same challenge rules apply, where if you got it right, they would move back. If they got it right, you would move back. And essentially that's how it's played, Tribond. And that's how you play Tri-Bond. Now, for me and all the groups that I've played this with, it's just a frustrating game. Because even if you're really intelligent and you're smart and you're in the mood to think, it seems like at least half of these things seem impossible when you're on the side of answering the question. And the other frustrating thing is when you're the person reading the question and you read the 3 things and you flip it over and you look at the answer, it seems so easy. It's like, oh gosh, can't you get this one? You're so stupid. And then you get on the other side and you're like, duh. I mean, it's crazy. If you ever want to feel stupid, play this game. It just wallops you. So no, I don't like the game. It's just way too hard. I'd rather be playing a gazillion more games than this. So no, it's not a good party game. You know, the one good thing I have done with this game actually is I've taken just the cards on road trips. And we've played it because, you know, you don't really need the board or anything like that. You can actually just sit around and hand pick and cherry pick ones that are actually easy, which for normal people are probably medium. So that's how we've actually kept the game. We've only kept it because we bring it on road trips and we cherry pick out some Tri-Bonds, and we don't even play teams. We all just, hey, can anybody figure this out? And so that's the way we've played it. So as a game to sit around the table to play this, I'll probably never do it again. But it does have its place in its car on road trips, so, you know, it does have its place in the collection.